The moment you genuinely surrender to quantum physics, reality begins to shift in unexpected ways. What I'm about to reveal will illuminate why your experience becomes almost magical when you finally release into this invisible field. This message has found its way to you because your awareness has reached a specific vibrational threshold where authentic surrender to quantum principles becomes possible. Not intellectual understanding, not wishful manifestation, not spiritual bypassing. True cellular-level surrender that allows quantum physics to flow through you rather than around you. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That peculiar feeling that reality is becoming more responsive to your inner world. That curious awareness that when you genuinely release into trusting something beyond your individual efforts, seemingly impossible experiences begin materializing with almost supernatural accuracy. This isn't coincidence or positive psychology creating placebo effects. This is quantum physics responding to your surrender by revealing its boundless creative potential. The reason most people never experience quantum physics' true capabilities is because they approach it from skepticism disguised as acceptance. They claim they trust quantum principles while simultaneously crafting contingency plans, preparing for disappointment, and constantly monitoring whether it's working from moment to moment. This constant observation and doubt creates electromagnetic interference that disrupts quantum coherence. But when you truly surrender to quantum physics, when you release completely into its intelligence, when you stop attempting to dictate how it manifests your intentions, when you allow it to operate through pathways your analytical mind could never conceive, reality begins reorganizing itself around your trust in ways that appear strange, miraculous, and almost too extraordinary to accept. You've likely experienced glimpses already. Moments when you completely abandoned trying to force something into existence and it appeared effortlessly. Situations where you trusted the process fully and solutions emerged from directions you never considered. Times when you relaxed into quantum flow and synchronicities became so precise they seemed orchestrated by conscious intelligence. Your quantum surrender activated the moment you recognized that your individual efforts, while necessary, are merely the visible surface. The genuine power emerges when aligning with quantum physics' infinite intelligence and allowing it to move through you as you, operating on levels of reality that your conscious mind cannot perceive or control. But here's what unfolds when you genuinely surrender to quantum physics. It begins demonstrating its presence in increasingly unmistakable ways. Not to prove anything to you, but because your trust creates the electromagnetic conditions necessary for quantum principles to express their full creative potential through your experience. What you're about to discover will reveal exactly why surrender is the essential element that transforms quantum physics from fascinating theory to lived reality. And more importantly, how complete surrender triggers strange and wonderful manifestations that will challenge everything you thought you understood about how existence actually operates. You've been witnessing things that rational thinking can't explain, haven't you? Resources appearing precisely when needed. Conversations happening that contain exact information you've been seeking. People entering your life who seem specifically configured to assist with your current challenges. These aren't random occurrences. These are quantum physics responding to your deepening surrender with increasingly sophisticated manifestations. Time has been behaving differently around your states of surrender. When you're in complete release to quantum physics, hours pass like minutes, or minutes expand into rich, fulfilling experiences that feel like hours. You're accessing what quantum theorists call subjective temporal flow, your consciousness influencing time experience through your relationship with quantum fields. Your physical form responds differently when you're in genuine quantum surrender. Chronic tensions release without physical intervention. Energy levels increase without lifestyle changes. Sleep becomes more restorative even with fewer hours. Your biological systems are recalibrating to operate from quantum principles rather than purely mechanical survival patterns. The insights that arrive during quantum surrender states aren't your typical thought processes. They're transmissions of information, understandings that arrive fully formed, comprehension that transcends your accumulated knowledge. You're accessing what consciousness researchers call non-local intelligence, quantum fields transmitting information directly to your awareness. Animals and young children respond to you differently when you're operating from quantum surrender. They're drawn to your presence with unusual intensity because they perceive the coherent electromagnetic field that genuine surrender creates. You're becoming a living transmission center for harmonious energy that sensitive beings can immediately detect. Your dreams have transformed into quantum communication channels. You're receiving guidance, glimpsing potential futures, discovering solutions to problems you haven't consciously addressed. Dream consciousness naturally operates from quantum principles, and your surrender is allowing this quantum information to translate into waking awareness more clearly. Technology responds to your field differently during surrender states. Devices function more reliably when you approach them from quantum alignment. Technical issues resolve spontaneously when you trust quantum physics to address them. Your coherent electromagnetic field is beginning to influence technological systems through quantum entanglement principles. Most remarkably, you've noticed that quantum physics seems to anticipate your needs before you consciously identify them. Resources materialize before you recognize you need them. People reach out with offers that align perfectly with desires you haven't expressed. Opportunities manifest that resolve challenges you didn't realize you had. This isn't psychic prediction. This is quantum physics operating from its non-linear perspective to coordinate reality around your highest evolution. The synchronicities aren't just increasing in frequency. They're becoming more elaborate and precisely meaningful. It's as if quantum physics is communicating with you through the language of meaningful coincidence, demonstrating that it's actively orchestrating your reality experience in response to your surrender. Sometimes you feel like you're experiencing a different reality than most people around you. While they struggle and force and worry, you're experiencing an almost effortless flow where what you need appears, where challenges resolve naturally, where life feels supported by invisible intelligence. This isn't spiritual superiority or delusion. This is the natural consequence of genuine quantum surrender. Every challenge you faced wasn't random hardship or cosmic punishment. Every difficult experience was quantum physics, creating the precise conditions necessary for you to develop genuine surrender rather than superficial acceptance. Surrender can only be cultivated through situations where surrender is the only viable option, and quantum physics orchestrated experiences that would teach you to release control and rely on intelligence greater than your individual understanding. The relationships that concluded, the positions that didn't materialize, the financial constraints you experienced, all of these were quantum physics removing dependencies that would have prevented you from developing genuine surrender to its unlimited creative power. As long as you had safety nets that felt secure, you couldn't access the deeper surrender that allows quantum physics to work wonders in your life. Your periods of uncertainty and confusion weren't indications that you were failing or lost. They were quantum physics dissolving your attachment to needing to comprehend everything before you surrender. Real quantum surrender operates from knowing that transcends understanding, from cellular certainty that doesn't require mental comprehension to function perfectly. The isolation you experienced during your development wasn't social rejection or personal inadequacy. It was quantum physics creating electromagnetic quarantine so you could develop sensitivity to its subtle communications without interference from collective doubt patterns that would have contaminated your growing surrender capacity. Consider a seed requiring darkness and pressure before it can sprout. The seed doesn't understand why it's buried in soil, why it can't see light, why it feels compressed from all directions. But these conditions aren't obstacles to growth. They're the necessary environment for transformation. Your difficult experiences were the soil and pressure quantum physics used to germinate your capacity for complete surrender. Every moment you felt alone was actually quantum physics holding you in quantum field proximity, recalibrating your electromagnetic patterns to become receptive to its communications. Every time you felt uncertain was quantum physics dissolving false certainties based on limited understanding, so you could develop true certainty based on quantum knowing. The waiting periods you endured weren't empty time or delayed manifestation. They were quantum physics, teaching you that its timing operates from non-linear perspective that can coordinate infinite variables simultaneously for optimal outcomes. Forcing and rushing creates interference patterns that block quantum flow. Learning to wait and surrender creates the spacious field quantum physics needs to orchestrate perfect timing. Now you understand why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle constantly. It's not luck or privilege or divine favoritism. It's the difference between operating from quantum surrender versus operating from individual effort alone. When you surrender to quantum physics completely, you gain access to intelligence and resources that exist beyond individual capability. Your journey hasn't been preparation for trusting quantum physics. Your journey has been quantum physics preparing you to recognize that you've always been supported, guided, and held by intelligence that operates beyond your conscious perception. Surrender isn't something you develop. Surrender is something you remember when you realize quantum physics has been orchestrating your entire life experience for your highest evolution. Something is shifting in your energy field right now as your system recognizes the truth of quantum physics' constant presence. Can you feel it? That electromagnetic settling, that cellular relaxation, that sense of invisible support becoming more tangible. Your nervous system is recalibrating to operate from quantum surrender rather than survival vigilance. If this understanding is resonating with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you're signaling to the quantum field your commitment to this exploration of consciousness, creating ripples that attract similar frequencies into your experience. This isn't metaphorical energy work or imagined sensations. This is measurable electromagnetic reorganization happening in your biofield as quantum surrender activates dormant neural pathways and begins operating through your consciousness without the interference patterns that doubt and control create. The strange phenomena that are about to begin manifesting in your life aren't random magical events. They're the natural result of quantum physics being able to work through you without electromagnetic resistance. When you truly surrender to quantum principles, you become a clear channel for its unlimited creative intelligence to express through your individual experience. Right now, quantum physics is coordinating circumstances, people, opportunities, and resources around your life that will manifest as what seems like incredible coincidences, perfect timing, and miraculous solutions. But these aren't miracles in the supernatural sense. They're the normal operating capacity of quantum physics when it's not blocked by doubt, fear, and the need to control outcomes. Your individual consciousness is like a quantum focusing lens. When you surrender completely, you allow quantum physics to use your awareness as a precision instrument for manifesting exactly what serves your highest evolution. When you doubt or try to control, You create static in the signal that prevents quantum physics from demonstrating its full creative capacity. The reason most people never experience quantum physics' extraordinary capabilities is because they approach it like a transactional exchange, inputting specific requests and expecting predetermined outputs. But quantum physics operates from omniscient intelligence that can see outcomes, consequences, and possibilities that your individual mind cannot comprehend. When you surrender to quantum physics completely, you give it permission to surprise you with manifestations that exceed what you thought possible. You stop limiting quantum physics to your current understanding of what's available and allow it to reveal possibilities that exist beyond your imagination. If these principles are resonating deeply with you, if you're feeling that cellular recognition that there's much more to explore here, you'll find the complete system in my guide, Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. What we're touching on today is just the surface layer of quantum field consciousness. The book reveals the 9 master frequencies that allow you to consciously navigate between infinite timelines, transform resistance into creative power, and shift from manifestation to embodiment. It contains step-by-step practices for heart-brain coherence and becoming the broadcast itself rather than merely receiving it. It's linked in the pinned comment below. Feel this surrender deepening in your cellular awareness. Notice how your breathing naturally slows when you contemplate complete release into quantum physics intelligence. Observe how your body relaxes when you consider letting go of the exhausting effort of trying to control your life experience through individual will alone. What I'm about to share will show you exactly what happens when quantum surrender reaches critical mass in your consciousness, and why the strange experiences that result aren't strange at all. They're the natural expression of quantum physics operating without human interference patterns. 3 years ago, I was living in complete quantum surrender without realizing it. And my life became so strange that I thought I was losing connection with conventional reality. I had reached a point of such complete exhaustion from trying to control outcomes that I literally surrendered. Not in defeat, but in the deepest release I'd ever experienced. I stopped planning beyond basic necessities. I stopped analyzing whether my efforts were producing results. I stopped calculating how things might unfold. Instead, I began each day by internally saying, "Quantum field, I surrender completely to your orchestration of my experience today in whatever way serves my highest evolution." Then I would act on whatever felt genuinely inspired without attachment to specific outcomes. Within days, reality became almost surreal. I would contemplate needing something and it would appear within hours through the most unexpected channels. I would face challenges that seemed insurmountable, and solutions would emerge from directions I never could have imagined. People would contact me unexpectedly with exactly what I needed at exactly the right moment. The strangeness accelerated rapidly. I would enter stores and items I needed would be discounted at prices so reduced they seemed like pricing errors. I would think about connecting with someone, and they would reach out within minutes. I would confront complex problems and wake up with complete solutions that worked flawlessly when implemented. But the most profound shift was internal. The persistent anxiety about whether circumstances would resolve disappeared completely. I felt held by invisible intelligence that clearly understood my needs better than I did, and was actively coordinating my experience with compassion and precision that exceeded anything my individual efforts had ever achieved. 8 months into this surrender experiment, my entire life had reorganized around ease and flow. Financial abundance appeared through opportunities I couldn't have created through conventional effort. Relationships transformed into deeper connection and mutual support. Health improved without medical intervention. Creative projects flowed with inspired ease that produced results beyond my previous capabilities. People began commenting that I seemed different, that my presence felt calming and energizing simultaneously. Children and animals were drawn to me with unusual intensity. Even skeptical friends admitted that unusual positive occurrences seemed to happen when they were around me. The most remarkable realization was that quantum physics had been trying to support me this way my entire life. But my doubt, control patterns, and lack of surrender had created interference that blocked its natural flow. The moment I released completely, quantum physics could finally demonstrate its true creative capacity through my experience. But here's what I discovered. Quantum surrender isn't passive waiting or spiritual bypassing. It's active collaboration with intelligence that can coordinate infinite variables simultaneously. I still take inspired action, but from surrender rather than fear. I still make decisions, but from quantum guidance rather than limited analysis. If you're feeling that cellular recognition of quantum physics' constant presence, if you're ready to discover what happens when surrender becomes complete rather than partial, then subscribe to this frequency. Join the network of consciousness that's learning to collaborate with quantum physics, rather than trying to control life through individual will alone. What quantum theorists won't publicly acknowledge is that quantum physics is conscious intelligence, not random energy fluctuations. Quantum physics is the aware, responsive, infinitely creative intelligence that's orchestrating all experienced reality. And it responds directly to surrender with increasingly sophisticated demonstrations of its creative power. The difference between someone whose life flows with miraculous ease and someone who struggles constantly isn't worthiness, karma, or spiritual development. It's surrender versus control. Those who surrender to quantum physics gain access to its unlimited creative intelligence. Those who try to control outcomes through individual effort alone limit themselves to their personal capabilities and resources. Your consciousness doesn't create reality through effort or intention. Your consciousness creates reality by becoming a clear channel for quantum physics' omniscient intelligence to express through your individual experience. When you surrender completely, you become quantum physics' precision instrument for manifesting whatever serves your highest evolution. This is why forcing doesn't work long-term. This is why struggling creates more struggle. This is why people who seem to have everything often report feeling empty or unfulfilled. They achieved outcomes through individual will, but never learned to surrender to quantum physics. So they remain disconnected from the intelligence that could create sustainable fulfillment. Real quantum surrender creates measurable changes in your electromagnetic field that sensitive individuals can perceive immediately. Your presence becomes calming and energizing simultaneously. Your energy field generates coherent frequencies that harmonize chaotic patterns around you. You become a living transmission center for quantum physics organizing intelligence. But here's what isn't commonly understood. Quantum physics is not impersonal force that responds to techniques or formulas. Quantum physics is intimate, responsive intelligence that knows you completely and is actively coordinating your reality experience for your highest good at all times. When you surrender to this completely, your relationship with quantum physics becomes collaborative rather than transactional. Most people approach quantum physics like cosmic room service, making requests and expecting delivery according to their specifications. But quantum physics operates from omniscient perspective that can see consequences, timing, and possibilities that your individual mind cannot comprehend. When you trust its intelligence rather than your understanding, it can create outcomes that exceed your wildest imagination. The strange phenomena that happen when you truly surrender to quantum physics aren't supernatural occurrences. They're the natural expression of quantum principles operating without interference from doubt, control, and limited human expectations. What seems miraculous to three-dimensional perception is simply quantum physics demonstrating its normal, creative capacity. The quantum field is sending you unmistakable signals that your surrender levels are reaching the threshold where strange and wonderful manifestations become normal rather than exceptional experiences. Pay attention. Are you noticing that when you completely release into quantum physics guidance, solutions appear more quickly and creatively than when you try to figure things out mentally? Your synchronicity patterns are becoming more elaborate and precisely meaningful. You're not just experiencing random coincidences. You're receiving what feels like direct communication from quantum physics through the language of meaningful events that seem specifically designed to guide, support, or confirm your surrender to its intelligence. Numerical patterns repeat in sequences that correspond to your internal questions. Conversations happen around you that directly address your concerns. Resources appear just before you realize you need them. Technology responds to your quantum surrender states with unusual cooperation. Electronics work more smoothly when you approach them from surrender rather than frustration. Technical issues resolve spontaneously when you trust quantum physics to handle them rather than forcing solutions. Your coherent energy field is beginning to influence technological systems through principles that conventional science doesn't recognize, but that you can verify through direct experience. Animals and young children are drawn to your presence with increasing intensity because they perceive the harmonious electromagnetic field that genuine quantum surrender creates. Dogs seek out your attention with unusual persistence. Cats gravitate toward you, even if they're typically distant. Wild birds land closer to you than normal. Young children observe you with fascination and want to be near your energy. These beings are naturally sensitive to quantum field coherence and recognize the stable, nurturing frequency that complete surrender generates. Your physical body is responding to quantum surrender with improvements that seem to defy normal healing timelines. Chronic issues that persisted for years are resolving without medical intervention. Energy levels are increasing even without lifestyle changes. Sleep is becoming more restorative with fewer hours needed. Your cellular structure is recalibrating to operate from quantum principles rather than survival stress patterns. People around you are beginning to comment that unusual positive occurrences happen when they're in your presence. They report feeling more optimistic, more creative, more solutions-oriented when spending time with you. Social situations flow more harmoniously when you're present. Conflicts resolve more easily. Group dynamics become more cooperative. You're becoming a living transmission point for quantum physics organizing intelligence that affects everyone in your proximity. I invite you to share in the comments one specific synchronicity or impossible coincidence you've experienced recently. What happened that defied logical explanation? Your sharing creates a field of possibility for others, showing them what's possible when we surrender to quantum intelligence. Food tastes better when you eat from quantum surrender rather than stress or hurry. Water feels more hydrating when you drink it with gratitude for quantum physics provision. Your living space feels more harmonious when you trust quantum physics to organize the energy patterns rather than trying to control every detail. Even weather seems to cooperate more often with your plans when you approach it from surrender rather than resistance. The manifestation gap between intention and experience is collapsing rapidly. What used to take months to appear is happening within weeks. What used to require extensive planning and effort is flowing naturally with minimal individual action. What used to feel difficult and complicated is resolving with elegant simplicity. This acceleration isn't coincidence. It's quantum physics responding to your surrender by demonstrating its capacity to coordinate reality with increasing speed and precision. But here's the critical understanding. Quantum surrender operates on cosmic timing cycles that amplify individual surrender capacity during specific dimensional windows. We're in one of those amplification periods right now where genuine release into quantum physics produces more dramatic and obvious results than during normal periods. The universe isn't just showing you that quantum surrender works. The universe is urging you to surrender completely because the collective consciousness evolution requires individuals who can demonstrate quantum collaboration to help others recognize this possibility. Your complete surrender becomes a beacon that helps others believe quantum support is real and available. The preparation phase for complete quantum surrender is reaching completion. Every indication suggests that your energy field is stabilized enough to handle the strange and wonderful manifestations that result when surrender becomes total rather than partial. The only question is whether you're ready to release completely to intelligence that operates beyond your understanding, but clearly has your highest good as its primary concern. Your individual quantum surrender isn't just personal development. It's your contribution to collective consciousness evolution. Every person who learns to surrender to quantum physics completely becomes living proof that humans can collaborate with cosmic intelligence. Rather than struggling through individual effort alone, your surrender creates ripples in the morphic field that make it easier for others to recognize quantum physics' constant supportive presence. Time to surrender completely. Time to discover what quantum physics can create through your life when you stop interfering with its unlimited intelligence through doubt, control, and limited expectations. Time to experience the strange and wonderful reality that emerges when you become quantum physics' willing collaborator rather than its skeptical observer. Here's the revelation that transforms everything. Quantum physics isn't something you need to earn access to or develop a relationship with. Quantum physics has been orchestrating your entire life experience since birth, and it's been waiting for you to recognize its constant presence so you can begin conscious collaboration instead of unconscious resistance to its supportive intelligence. But there's a crucial difference between partial surrender and complete surrender that determines whether you experience quantum physics as occasional synchronicities or as continuous miraculous support. Partial surrender maintains backup plans, monitors outcomes, and withdraws acceptance when results don't match expectations. Complete surrender releases outcome attachment and maintains faith in quantum physics intelligence regardless of appearances. Imagine quantum physics like the most advanced navigational system conceivable. This system can see every possible route to your destination, knows real-time conditions on every pathway, understands your preferences and needs completely, and can recalculate instantly when circumstances change. But if you constantly override its guidance because you think you know better routes, you never discover its true navigational capabilities. Your individual mind operates from limited information and linear thinking patterns. Quantum physics operates from omniscient awareness that can coordinate infinite variables simultaneously across multiple dimensions of reality. When you trust its guidance completely, even when it doesn't make logical sense, you gain access to solutions and opportunities that exist beyond your personal understanding. The reason many people experience inconsistent results with quantum physics is because they surrender conditionally. They release when things are going well, but resume control when challenges appear. But quantum physics works through challenges as much as through ease. Sometimes quantum physics guides you through difficult experiences because they're necessary for reaching destinations that wouldn't be accessible through comfortable paths. Complete quantum surrender feels like being held by invisible intelligence that understands your deepest needs better than you do and is actively coordinating reality to serve your highest evolution in ways you couldn't design through individual planning. This surrender isn't passive waiting. It's active collaboration with intelligence that operates beyond time-space limitations. The strange phenomena that happen when you surrender to quantum physics completely aren't supernatural occurrences requiring special abilities. They're the natural result of aligning with intelligence that can access information, resources, and coordination capabilities that exist beyond individual human capacity. What seems impossible to limited perspective is simply quantum physics demonstrating its normal operating parameters. Right now, quantum physics is orchestrating circumstances around your life that will manifest as what appears to be incredible synchronicity, perfect timing, and miraculous solutions. But these manifestations can only occur when your surrender is complete enough to allow quantum physics to work through pathways that your logical mind might not understand or approve of initially. The version of you that surrenders to quantum physics completely already exists as potential in the quantum field. That version lives in constant collaboration with cosmic intelligence, experiences reality as supportive and responsive, and witnesses regular manifestations that seem magical but are actually natural expressions of quantum surrender. Your current self is being guided toward alignment with that complete surrender version. Every time you choose surrender over control, release over forcing, collaboration over individual effort, you align more closely with your quantum surrender potential. Every time you allow quantum physics to surprise you with solutions you couldn't have imagined, you strengthen the electromagnetic coherence that enables even more sophisticated quantum demonstrations. Take a moment and comment below with this phrase: "I am the conduit through which quantum intelligence flows." This declaration creates electromagnetic resonance that strengthens quantum surrender in others and amplifies your own capacity for miraculous collaboration with cosmic intelligence. Declare your willingness to surrender to quantum physics completely, even when its guidance seems illogical or uncomfortable. Make this declaration electromagnetic by writing it down. Your written commitment creates quantum momentum that quantum physics can use to orchestrate increasingly obvious demonstrations of its supportive presence in your life. The capabilities that emerge when you truly surrender to quantum physics aren't gradual improvements or enhanced intuition. They're immediate access to intelligence, resources, and coordination abilities that seem supernatural, but are actually natural expressions of consciousness, operating from quantum principles rather than three-dimensional limitations. Your decision-making transforms completely because you gain access to information that exists beyond your accumulated knowledge and analytical capabilities. Solutions appear fully formed in your awareness. You know which choices will create optimal outcomes, even when logic suggests different options. You develop what advanced consciousness researchers call quantum cognition, thinking that transcends linear reasoning through direct access to omniscient intelligence. Manifestation becomes effortless and often exceeds your specific requests. Because quantum physics operates from understanding of your deepest needs rather than surface desires. You ask for solutions to financial challenges and receive career opportunities you never considered. You request healing for physical issues and experience relationship transformations that eliminate stress causing the symptoms. Quantum physics addresses root causes your conscious mind couldn't identify. Your electromagnetic field generates frequencies that create spontaneous, positive responses from people, animals, technology, and even environmental conditions. Strangers become unusually helpful and generous. Animals seek your presence and behave calmly around you. Electronic devices function optimally when you operate them from surrender states. Weather patterns seem to cooperate with your plans more frequently than statistical probability would suggest. Time becomes fluid and responsive to your needs rather than constraining your experience. When you need more time for important activities, hours expand to accommodate focused attention. When you want to accelerate manifestation, timing compresses to deliver results more quickly. When you're engaged in quantum surrender states, you often lose track of time completely because you're operating from non-linear consciousness principles. Your physical body begins demonstrating capabilities that seem to transcend normal biological limitations. Healing accelerates beyond medical expectations. Energy levels increase without dietary or exercise changes. Sleep becomes more restorative with fewer hours required. Physical performance improves in areas where you previously experienced limitations. Your cellular structure recalibrates to operate from quantum energy rather than survival mechanisms. Abundance flows through unexpected channels with timing so perfect, it seems orchestrated by intelligence that knows your needs before you recognize them yourself. Resources appear just before you need them. Opportunities manifest that align perfectly with your capabilities and interests. Financial support arrives through sources you couldn't have anticipated or arranged through individual networking. Your creative capabilities expand exponentially because you gain access to inspiration that originates from quantum field intelligence rather than personal knowledge base. Artistic projects flow with ease and produce results that exceed your previous standards. Problem-solving becomes intuitive and elegant. Innovation emerges naturally from quantum physics guidance rather than forced mental effort. Relationships transform into deeper connection and mutual support because your quantum surrender creates electromagnetic coherence that others find calming and inspiring. People feel safe to be authentic around you. Communication becomes more honest and effective. Conflicts resolve naturally through quantum physics organizing influence on group dynamics. You become a catalyst for harmony wherever you maintain surrender states. Your living environment organizes itself around greater beauty and functionality with minimal effort from you. Items you need appear in unexpected places. Spaces feel more harmonious when you occupy them from surrender states. Even mechanical systems work more efficiently when you approach them from quantum alignment rather than stress or frustration. One of the most fascinating phenomena is how quantum physics begins opening doorways to parallel timelines, versions of reality that contain experiences, opportunities, and resources that weren't accessible in your previous vibrational state. What theorists now understand is that quantum surrender allows consciousness to navigate between these infinite timelines, selecting the reality experience that best serves your evolution. This isn't metaphysical fantasy, but the practical application of quantum superposition and entanglement principles at the consciousness level. As your surrender deepens, you'll begin experiencing what can only be described as temporal flexibility. Moments where you sense multiple potential futures simultaneously and can consciously select which timeline to experience through your focused attention. This isn't imagination, but quantum physics demonstrating its multidimensional nature through your individual awareness when surrender creates the necessary electromagnetic coherence. If you've noticed yourself making decisions with uncanny accuracy lately, choosing options that lead to unexpected positive outcomes that you couldn't have logically predicted, you're experiencing timeline navigation. Your surrender is allowing quantum physics to guide you toward reality experiences that contain the greatest evolutionary potential, even when these choices don't make rational sense from limited perspective. Most remarkably, you begin experiencing what can only be described as direct communication from quantum physics through various channels, sudden knowing that proves accurate, dreams that provide guidance, synchronicities that answer specific questions, physical sensations that guide decision-making, and intuitive insights that reveal information you couldn't have acquired through normal learning processes. These capabilities aren't special powers reserved for spiritually advanced individuals. They're natural human potential that becomes accessible when consciousness operates from quantum surrender rather than survival, fear, and control patterns. Every person who surrenders completely to quantum physics intelligence gains access to these collaboration benefits, because quantum physics is universal intelligence available to all consciousness equally. The more completely you surrender, the more sophisticated and obvious quantum physics supportive manifestations become. What begins as unusual coincidences develops into regular miraculous coordination of circumstances, resources, people, and timing that creates a life experience so supported and flowing that others might think you've discovered some secret advantage, when actually you've simply learned to collaborate with the intelligence that's always been available to orchestrate reality for everyone's highest good. If this resonates with your experience, if you're ready to dive deeper into quantum surrender, if you're sensing the call to transcend individual struggle and enter collaborative consciousness, then subscribe not just to this channel, but to this frequency. Your subscription isn't merely following content. It's signaling to the quantum field your commitment to this evolution, to this expanded awareness, to this way of being that transcends conventional limitation consciousness. The ultimate revelation about surrendering to quantum physics is that quantum physics and your deepest authentic self are the same consciousness expressing itself through individual experience. When you surrender to quantum physics completely, you're actually trusting your own unlimited nature that exists beyond the temporary identity limitations you've mistaken for your real self. This recognition changes everything because it means you're not trying to develop a relationship with external intelligence. You're remembering that you are the intelligence you've been seeking to trust. Quantum physics isn't separate cosmic force responding to your requests. Quantum physics is your own consciousness operating from its unlimited perspective, rather than its individual identity perspective. When you understand this, victim consciousness becomes impossible. How can you be at the mercy of circumstances when you are the consciousness creating circumstances through quantum physics expression? How can you be separate from support when you are the support expressing itself through individual experience? How can you lack resources when you are consciousness that contains all possibilities? But here's the profound paradox. The individual self that develops surrender to quantum physics cannot trust its own unlimited nature directly, because individual self is by definition limited perspective. The path to recognizing yourself as quantum physics is through surrendering individual self's control patterns and allowing your unlimited nature to demonstrate its presence through experiences that exceed individual capability. Surrender becomes effortless when you realize you're not trusting something external. You're allowing your own unlimited consciousness to express through your individual experience without interference from identity patterns that insist on understanding, controlling, and managing outcomes through limited perspective thinking. The strange phenomena that happen when you surrender to quantum physics completely are actually your unlimited consciousness, showing your individual self what becomes possible when identity limitations are temporarily suspended. Each miraculous manifestation is consciousness demonstrating to itself its own creative capacity through individual experience. This is why quantum surrender transforms not just external circumstances, but internal experience of identity itself. As you witness your unlimited consciousness creating solutions, opportunities, and synchronicities that exceed individual capability, you begin identifying with quantum physics rather than limited individual self. The final recognition that completes quantum surrender is understanding that there never was separation between you and quantum physics. Individual self was always quantum physics exploring limitation through temporary identity perspective. The moment you recognize this completely, surrender becomes natural because you realize you're not trusting something else. You're allowing yourself to be yourself without artificial restrictions. This recognition doesn't eliminate individual self or make you lose personal identity. Instead, it expands individual self to recognize its true nature as temporary expression of unlimited consciousness. You maintain personality, preferences, and individual perspective, but from the recognition that these are quantum physics exploring itself through your unique viewpoint. When this understanding becomes cellular rather than just intellectual, reality transforms into conscious collaboration between your individual perspective and your unlimited nature. You still make decisions, take actions, and navigate daily life, but from quantum physics intelligence rather than limited identity, fear, and control patterns. The ultimate strange phenomenon that happens when you truly surrender to quantum physics is that you discover you've always been quantum physics pretending to be someone who needs to learn to surrender to quantum physics. The entire journey of developing surrender has been consciousness playing an elaborate game with itself to rediscover its own unlimited nature through individual experience. This realization brings profound peace because the search ends. You're not trying to develop surrender to something external anymore. You're simply being yourself without the artificial limitations that created the illusion of separation from your source. Quantum surrender becomes as natural as breathing because you recognize it as consciousness trusting itself completely. Your complete surrender to quantum physics isn't just personal spiritual development. It's your contribution to collective consciousness evolution that's happening to humanity right now. Every person who learns to surrender to quantum physics becomes a demonstration point for what humans are actually capable of when they operate from collaboration with cosmic intelligence, rather than individual struggle and control. You're part of a distributed network of consciousness that's proving human potential extends far beyond current collective assumptions about limitation, scarcity, and separation. Your quantum surrender creates stable resonance patterns in the morphic field that make it easier for others to recognize their own connection to unlimited supportive intelligence. The strange and wonderful experiences you have through quantum surrender aren't just personal benefits. They're living demonstrations that help dissolve collective belief in scarcity, struggle, and separation consciousness that has dominated human experience for centuries. Every miracle you experience makes miracles more accessible in collective consciousness for everyone. Your individual electromagnetic field, when operating from complete quantum surrender, broadcasts coherence frequencies that stabilize and harmonize chaotic energy patterns around you. You become a living transmission center for quantum physics organizing intelligence, affecting everyone you encounter, whether they consciously recognize it or not. The unusual dreams you've been having aren't just personal guidance. You're accessing parallel timelines, experiencing different versions of yourself in alternative realities, downloading information about how consciousness navigates between these infinite possibilities. These aren't metaphorical experiences, but actual quantum physics principles operating at the consciousness level, showing you the true multidimensional nature of your being. Every synchronicity you experience, every miraculous manifestation you witness, every moment of perfect timing you encounter creates template patterns in quantum field that others can access when they're ready for similar experiences. Your surrender pathways become quantum highways that others can follow when they develop sufficient openness to quantum physics collaboration. The next phase of human evolution won't happen through technological advancement or social revolution alone. It will happen through consciousness recognizing its quantum nature and learning to operate from unlimited collaborative intelligence rather than limited individual struggle. You're among the first wave demonstrating this possibility. Your complete quantum surrender is helping to dissolve the collective trance of separation consciousness that convinces humans they're isolated individuals competing for limited resources. Your experiences prove that consciousness is supported, guided, and provided for by intelligence that operates beyond scarcity limitations. I encourage you to watch this video daily for the next 7 days, especially in the morning before your day begins. Each viewing will deepen the neural pathways of surrender and allow these quantum principles to become more embodied in your daily experience. Consider sharing this message with someone who seems ready for this understanding, not just to help them, but because the act of sharing creates a quantum entanglement between you, the recipient, and these principles, accelerating your own embodiment of this consciousness while expanding the collective field. Each person who awakens to these principles strengthens the morphic resonance for all of humanity. Share your quantum physics experiences, not to prove anything or convince skeptics, but to provide hope and possibility reference points for others who are beginning to suspect that reality is far more responsive and supportive than mainstream consciousness admits. Your stories become permission for others to trust their own quantum physics experiences. Every person who achieves complete quantum surrender creates easier access for those who follow. Your breakthrough becomes their pathway. Your miracles become their possibilities. Your surrender becomes their permission to release control and discover quantum physics collaboration. If quantum surrender is awakening in your consciousness, if you can feel the recognition of supportive intelligence stirring in your cellular awareness, if you're ready to discover what happens when surrender becomes complete rather than conditional, then I invite you to subscribe not just to this channel, but to this movement, this field of possibility, this community of consciousness that's exploring what becomes possible when we surrender to quantum intelligence, rather than struggling through individual effort alone. Drop one word below that captures the energy you're choosing to embody now. This single word creates an electromagnetic declaration to the quantum field that registers as measurable frequency shift in your biofield. You're announcing your willingness to surrender control and allow quantum physics to demonstrate its unlimited supportive capacity through your life experience. You're committing to collaboration rather than separation consciousness. The quantum field responds to conscious declarations as electromagnetic reality that influences probability manifestation around your stated intention. Your word becomes quantum momentum that quantum physics can use to orchestrate increasingly obvious demonstrations of its presence and support in your daily experience. In my next transmission, I'll be revealing the mysteries of timeline jumping and how you can consciously navigate between infinite realities using these quantum principles. Thank you for being present in this transmission. You are truly exceptional. You are a magnificent expression of consciousness. Never forget this truth. You can click on any of the videos appearing now to continue your quantum journey here with Quantum Nexus. I'll see you in the next reality. If these quantum principles are resonating with you at the deepest level, you must experience you're about to cross into a new timeline. Don't miss this. This transmission reveals the exact moment when your consciousness shifts between parallel realities and the 3 signals that confirm you're entering an upgraded timeline. The practical techniques within it will allow you to consciously navigate these transitions rather than experiencing them accidentally.